nonprofits are closing, social service agencies are closing, and the other option for the individuals in those institutions are state facilities. So I'm currently interning with the state, and I go to those facilities, and they're not updated, and the modalities that are used are not also updated. So I'm curious what your stance is and how you might be more progressive within the facilities. And so I'm really concerned about the individuals in that because it's packed and they're not being treated.
So I think,
Can you repeat the question?
yes.
I can't hear a lot.
He's a graduate student at the University of Chicago, the School of Social Service Administration. And he mentioned that lots of social service agencies are closing or on the verge of closing, and that he's also interning or doing his first year placement or second year at a state institution. And that state institution doesn't have the resources that it needs. And so what would I do? Look, I think when I think about investing, I'm not pretending to have all the answers. I think it's about convening subject matter experts in various fields. I mean, so for example, in school funding equity, I don't know the exact formula that needs to happen. What I do know is what we're doing doesn't work. And so there are lots of groups out there that are doing work around mental health reform, like law reform, especially groups like NAMI, for example. They do incredible work. We should bring them under the tent and have them drive the solutions. My job is to make the money available, and the political will to make that money available. The implementation comes from the subject matter experts, the people who are actually doing work. And so my job is, as an emergency manager, is what I did. Emergency managers, when you're dealing with a disaster, don't have all the answers. They convene the right people at the table so the right decision gets made. That's how I see my job.
Me. So how are you? What kind of feedback are you getting about this progressive tax reform? Because I think it's really an education thing. We've seen examples of, Kansas with trickle-down economics was a disaster. We've seen examples of Minnesota where they did progressive tax reform and they have a surplus. The question I guess really is, what kind of feedback are you getting from your other legislators, and do you see that as viable? I think you've convinced me today, that there's a way to make that happen, and I've seen it happen in other states. What is the feedback you're getting from the other legislators?
I mean, generally positive. I think most people recognize the issues that are starting to bubble up, the inequities, and quite frankly, the anger, right? And so, look, my thought is, you see what's happening after the Women's March, which, by the way, I thought was one of the most positive responses because of the amount of energy that I saw. But I see a wave coming, and that wave is, we have to make some major changes. And I think legislators and elected officials are starting to recognize that. You're starting to see that on the right, too, because they're ducking the town halls, right? And so people see this coming. This isn't the Tea Party of the left. I just think people are fed up. And I think people generally are fed up with just wealthy people acting like they know what's best for the rest of us. And I think they can hear the T word in taxes. They can't. Because they see the inequities. I think what most people will tell you is they're willing to pay more taxes if they get something in return and they see something in their communities. See, the thing is, even at the congressional level, Republicans in this administration, in the Trump administration taking office, on a secret ballot, tried to bring back earmarks. Republicans did. Now, Congress used to work when we had earmarks.
What are earmarks?
Earmarks are when let's just say I'm passing a bill on, let's just say it's on the number of chairs that we need to buy as a government, right? And I'm a Democrat. And a Republican comes to me and says, I'll vote for your chair bill, but I need a clinic in my ward, so I need $10 million, and I'll vote for your bill. And so you attach that as an earmark to the bill. Now, some people call that pork. But for the district that gets that clinic, that's a job creator, that could be a lifesaver. It could be a lifeline. So my point is, this is how it used to work. We used to pass bills. Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan used to work together to pass legislation and trade horses. That's how government and that's how democracy is supposed to work. We can debate on whether individual earmarks are pork or not. But one project like the Bridge to Nowhere shouldn't define every earmark that's ever been passed. So there's no incentive in Congress today to do anything other than to say yes or no. So Republicans this time brought up earmarks and tried to get it on the secret ballot when they were voting for the speaker. My point is, I think people are recognizing in their communities that it's not enough to simply just go back and say, I voted yes or no X number of times. That your elected officials should be able to go to Congress or Springfield or City Council and say, these are the things I brought back to the community because we actually need it.